Aloha from Brooklyn, New York. This is pretty awkward for me because I'm usually behind the camera, but today you got me in front of it. I'm Davyana San Miguel. I'm a documentary filmmaker and multimedia artist living in Brooklyn, New York. I'm originally from Maui, Hawaii, and I really miss a lot of the food that I used to eat back home. So the other night I tried to recreate Char Siu Manapua, and I'll show you how it went. And about to head to Diane's place.
Hi!
Shout out to Southeast Asian food grocer based in New York City. So Diane and I have been on the hunt for really good purple sweet potatoes, and being in New York, it's so hard to find. We're gonna try and experiment with using taro in a lot of our recipes. The best eggplant, don't get any other eggplant other than Chinese, Japanese, or Filipino eggplant. Fried garlic, new obsession. This kimchi is so bomb, so fresh, extremely bubbly, really alive. Another essential, furikake. Of course, you gotta have the Spam. I can't get over this ginger. First, I'm gonna get the Instant Pot on saute mode and get it to scorching hot. Add some avocado oil, and then we're gonna brown the pork on each side for about 2 minutes on each side. Once your pork is browned, toss your char siu sauce on top. If you have a silicone brush, you can do that here. Mine was too far away and I was super lazy, so I just used the spatula. Then I add a little bit of water just to coat the bottom. Threw some bay leaves in there for some extra flavor. And then I cover the Instant Pot and pressure cook for 90 minutes. This is about a 2.5 pound cut of pork. You can adjust the time based on how little or how much pork you're cooking. After the timer goes off, I let it natural release for about 30 minutes. Open the pot and it'll look something like this. Then I let it rest on a cutting board for about another 30 minutes, and then I start carving. For the manapua filling, I minced up the pork into small pieces, and then from here we're gonna toss it into a little cornstarch slurry. Okay, so now that the pork is going, we're gonna get started on the bao. Here I have some warm water, some milk, active yeast. I'm gonna add some sugar and avocado oil. Then we're gonna let that sit in the corner in a warm spot for about 5 to 10 minutes until it blooms. While the yeast is blooming, we're gonna mix all of the dry ingredients. So that's the flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. I'm gonna use this KitchenAid mixer that we got at a pawn shop. Now that the yeast is fully bloomed, I'm gonna add that liquid mixture to the dry mixture, and we're gonna start to see a really nice dough forming. In the KitchenAid, I'm gonna let that beat for a little bit just so it starts to get those glutens to form and turn into a dough. Put your dough ball into a clean glass bowl, cover it with saran wrap or a tea towel, and put it in a warm place for about 2 hours to proof. This is what the dough looks like about 2 hours later. It's about doubled in size, and when you pull the dough away from the sides of the bowl, it should look really webby like this. Here is where I go terribly wrong. So if you're following the recipe, follow the recipe and don't watch what I'm doing, or don't do what I'm doing here. So I've portioned out smaller manapua circles, and I'm about to roll it out from the center out, which is what you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to do it from the edges only and leave a little bit more dough in the center. These aren't looking as uniform as I would hope, and the char siu mixture was actually too hot for the manapua dough, so it started to melt and stick to my countertop. Half of these are using the pork mixture, and the other half I made a cremini mushroom mixture using the same char siu-ish marinade. Okay, so not all of them came out perfect. I will say a lot of the dough ripped, but it's still gonna taste good. So I put the sad manapua in the frying pan. I'm gonna pan fry those with a little bit of water, cover it on and steam it on low for 10 minutes. And the rest of the nicer ones are going into the big steamer, and that's also gonna steam for about 10 minutes. After about 10 minutes of steaming, this is what these babies will look like. A little deformed, a little mushy, but we'll check on those later. Here are the two prettiest Char Siu Manapua that came out of the first batch that I made. It's not as nice as I hoped, but I'm pretty proud of how it turned out, and it tasted so good.